Part 2. The Nigeria of Jonathan's Presidency, Buhari and Tinubu. Groups of jihadists were formed. They don't like democracy, therefore they want Sharia system. Boko is Haram, which interprets books or civilization is a taboo. OBJ, in good faith, allowed some states in the north to have their way, in the sense that it's all for them alone, and limited to only Muslims there in the north. The now known as Boko Haram was known as Jama'atu al-Sunnah Lidawati wal Jihad. This is translated from Arabic. This means people committed to the propagation of the Prophet's teachings and jihad, or association of the people of the Sunnah for preaching and jihad. President Olusegun Obasanjo is not a child in Nigeria politics and history. He tried his best to put Nigeria in the best hands. However, Boko is Haram. The record of late President Umaru Yar'Adua and Goodluck Jonathan brought them together to presidency, as OBJ hand-picked them from his party, PDP, and projected them for victory. They did win as projected, despite some irregularities in the election. Late Yar'Adua remains the best president the North has ever produced. He was both educated and diplomatic. He believed in the rule of law and, in fact, the first university graduate to become Nigerian president. He gave the youths from the oil-rich Niger Delta the reason to drop their weapons and be useful for themselves and their families. The northern religious and political elders were pained for Yar'Adua Jonathan's presidency. Reason being that President Yar'Adua, though a northern Muslim and a Fulani, was a good-hearted Muslim who respected humanity and national goodwill of all Nigerians, that is haram in Islam. Goodluck Jonathan, who is a southerner from a badly marginalized and shred Niger Delta, is seen as an Igbo, very educated and too wise and too good, against their ideology. What pained them the most is that Jonathan is a Christian and thus regarded as an unbeliever. Islamic agenda became their priority. Suddenly, President Yar'Adua died in office, the heaven let loose. The northern political and religious elders wanted to hijack power by all possible means, including by violence and lawlessness. After the dramatic delays and political madness, Goodluck Jonathan was sworn in as an acting president. That came with both demonstrations by Nigerians and the interference of international allies. Boko Haram began properly. Bombs were landing in various parts of Nigeria and federal capital. The northern leaders, religious and political, make sure their choice of candidates were appointed in all strategic political and service positions. They claim only that would assure them of inclusive governance. President Jonathan honored their requests in the name of inclusivity. Arms were imported, cleared unchecked and distributed to Boko Haram groups. They were radicalized from the teaching in the mosques that Nigeria is their inheritance from their forefathers, and they must not be ruled over, not even by an unbeliever from the south. Therefore, they were told that reclaiming Nigeria by jihad and Islamizing Nigeria was, and is a sine qua non, a must, and by guns and bombs. Jihad was, and is the only option. Thousands of Fulanis across the Sahel regions of West Africa and far beyond were imported for jihad. The promise was that they will fight until their representative, Buhari, take over power and give them Sharia and government of their own. This means automatic citizenship in Nigeria, not just citizenship but proprietorship and supremacy on their conquered Nigeria in totality. I am not even making this up. This is an unapologetic fact, very undisputable. The truth is that it was a mandate that they should be deployed across Nigeria to war against every living thing. If Goodluck Jonathan had refused to accept defeat, irrespective of the already perfected rigging plan. Millions of non-Nigerians were imported and given voters' cards to vote in the north. Underage children equally voted for Buhari under the platform of APC in the north. That was not even yet the thumb-printed ballots in the rooms by few individuals, voting just for APC throughout. They went as far as lobbying Barack Obama to call off U.S. mercenaries hired by Goodluck Jonathan to end Boko Haram. Prior to this, they staged abductions of their own children and ran to America with "Bring Back Our Girls" placards to demand their release. Just to label Jonathan a weakling, many unsuspecting Nigerians, including clergies, followed the same narrative very innocently. Even before that, Shettima, then governor of Borno State and today's vice president of Nigeria's Muslim presidency, harbored the mastermind of 2011 Christmas Eve church bombing, right inside Abuja Governor's Lodge of Borno State. Before the 2015 presidential election was officially concluded, President Goodluck Jonathan had phoned Buhari on the phone and congratulated him. He saw everything very clear. They didn't even hide their threats. Buhari was celebrated as a hero both nationally and internationally. An Igbo man like me and few others sat in our tranquility, laughed and moved on. Can you flash back to all of Buhari's policies to infiltrate the entire Nigeria with Fulani jihadists? The Waterway Bill, aimed at giving Fulani herders who are actually jihadists the legal right over our beaches and water routes to surround us for unexpected attack. Fulani Forest Guards Bill, aimed at giving Fulani jihadists right over all the forests in Nigeria because they are herders so that they can protect the forest and rear their animals in them. However, this is a direct access to Fulani to ambush us unexpected. Did you forget Open Grazing Act? Did you forget how our mothers, sisters, and babies were dehumanized by these monsters? Did you forget why a Motakun security group is formed in the West? Motsi Namdi Kanu screaming for Eastern Security Network to protect Southeast? The Southeastern leaders being their wives and take other from them not to worry about indigenous security platforms? Did you forget that even Ibubegu, which was later formed, being led by men chosen from Abuja, who do not even speak Igbo? Did you remember how several meetings with Western and Eastern governors were sabotaged? How Fulani herders demanded that they must be part of such meetings? Meanwhile, the Western and Eastern governors do not have such gut nor right. Did you forget Owo church bombing? Enugu and Ebonyi occasional blood festivals? Buhari declaring Fulani is a global citizen, gave them free entry into Nigeria as free citizens? Did you forget Buhari built a road to Niger Republic? Did you forget offers to Boko Haram members, including all expenses paid scholarship outside Nigeria? You forgot thousands of them were literally released and accepted back into the society. Did you forgot? Some of them are in Nigeria armed forces today. In fact, the actual Boko Haram and all other jihadi members are in Nigeria highly placed political offices in Abuja, and in various state government offices especially in the north. See the conclusion at Part 3.